Today's video will be part 1 of the V-neck sweater series. For this project, we'll be using the Sentro with 48 needles, this beautiful evening jade yarn. Unfortunately, I don't remember the brand, but I can remember that it was acrylic, worsted weight, and the label recommended a 5mm crochet hook to be used with it. So I hope that is helpful in finding the yarn appropriate for this project. We will also be using a small crochet hook and tapestry needle to lift the yarn off the Sentro hooks. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to try and do my very best to explain this. So I took my measurements and then I decided how big or loose I wanted the sweater to be. I want it to be about 22 to 24 inches long and about 44 inches around-ish, because I want it to be a little on the baggy side. So I did a little test swatch and I figured out that 4 stitches with the yarn I'm using equals 1 inch and 6 rows equals 1 inch. And then I laid out kind of a little bit of design because there's going to be a little bit of a V-neck, a little bit of an armpit. So since this is half of the front, you're going to be doing these stitches. You'll be decreasing from the armpit on this side for one panel and the V-neck from this side on the same panel. And then when you do the opposite panel, you will switch those. And you'll see what that looks like here in a little bit. Hoping that will make things make sense. And then when you get to the panel on the back, it'll be the same armpit decrease, but it'll just be flat because it's just the back. If I laid out this pattern, I don't know if it's gonna make a lot of sense, but for the size I'm doing, I'm going to do just 70 rows before I start decreasing. And then I'm gonna start decreasing for the armpit first on the 71st row. So when I cast my yarn on, usually I cast it on here, which for one panel in the front and one panel in the back, I'm going to cast on from here and then go this way. And this will be the odd number side. For the V-neck, it'll be the even numbers. So you'll be decreasing on the opposite side. But when you get to the other panel, you'll be switching them. And again, that'll make more sense later on. It's going to be a little weird for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and cast this on in hopes it makes a little bit more sense, but this is essentially the pattern for the size I'm making. I'll try to have other sizes listed down below. But for this, you'll need your Sentro, something to help kind of like lift these up to move them on when you decrease, which I'm using these. And then just some waste yarn and something for weight. I just use these little clips. You can use whatever you want. And what I do to keep track is I only count to 10. The whole time I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Start over. And since I'm doing 136 rows, I have 13 of these. So every 10 rows, I just pop one in here so I can keep track of where I am. So I know if I have 4 of those in there, I'm on row 40. And then once I get to row 130, I just do 6 more rows, finish it off, and it's good to go. That's how I keep track of the rows I'm on, if you like that idea. And then, so I know if I'm on like row, if there's like 60 of these in there and I stop for a little bit and I come back to it, and this is still right here, then I'm like, okay, I'm on row 60, so I need to finish up 10 more rows. And then I do a decrease for the armpit, or say I'm like down here, there's like 9 of these in there. I'm like, okay, so I have like 6 more and I have the V-neck decrease, which is an even number, so it'll be on the reverse end of this, if that makes sense. I really hope this does. I'm so sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on casting on my waste yarn. Like I said, I took my measurements and then I decided I want it to be a little baggier, so I increased it a little bit and found out that I'm going to need 44 stitches, which is perfect because that is the biggest panel I can get on here. So usually, like for my first panels, I have the right front and back panel done, and for those I cast on here, and this was where I decreased for the armpit, and this is where I decreased for the V-neck. But since I'm doing the left panel, this is why I have V in here for V-neck. I'll be decreasing on this side for the v-neck and this side for the armpit, and the v-neck is even numbers and the armpit is odd numbers. So whenever you cast on, you can cast on your waist yarn here if you want, which I'm going to go ahead and do, but when I cast on my regular yarn instead of casting on here, I'll be casting on here and going this way instead of casting on here and starting this way. That way they stay even and odd appropriately, so I'm decreasing in the same spots, if that makes sense. You'll see here in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my waist yarn. And I marked these so I know not to go too far. And on the end, I will just make sure that this goes under these two bumpers. And now I can just start cranking. And usually, since this is the side I cast my waist yarn on, this is the side I would now take this, put it over, take my new yarn and insert it, which you would do for the right panels. But I'm now working on a left panel, so I'm gonna go back around one more time so that this is my new starting side. Because we're decreasing the armpit first, and this is gonna be the armpit side. So it needs to be on odd numbers. So I need, instead of 1 to start over here, I need 1 to start over here. So 3, 5, and 7, so on, are on this side. I am trying my best to explain this, and I hope I'm not over-explaining it, but at the same time, I hope you understand. So this is where I'm going to stop my waist yarn. I'm gonna throw that in there. And this is where I'm putting my yarn I'm using. And I'm just putting some weights on that helps it not skip the ends. See what I'm saying? Like right now when I start casting on, or I start cranking, this is gonna be row 1, starting from the side 1, and then 2. If I start over here, it'd be 1, and then 2, if that makes sense. So now the even numbers, which is the v-neck, I will decrease over here, just flip them. I might be over explaining this. I hope this makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and cast on 70 rows because 71 is where we decrease the first armpit decrease, which will be over here. And I'll see you for that. So that should be 70 rows, and as for my tension, I am just setting it here and then just very loosely holding it around my hand. I'm not actually squeezing anything, and then I'm holding this steady, just in case you were curious. But yeah, it should be 70 rows. That's what these are here for. I was using them to count. So that should be 20 rows. Let me just check everything. So now this one is marking 50 rows. Yes, that is 70 rows. And I don't know if I already said that, but with my waste yarn, I started it over here, and then I started this yarn over here. If you want, when you're starting your yarn over here, you can start your waste yarn over here. It's whatever makes more sense in your brain. For me, I just always start my waste yarn over here, whether I'm starting my regular useful yarn over here or over here. So we're on row 70, that stops on this side. That means when we come back around, we will be decreasing 71 on this side, which is the armpit, and then the v-neck will be on the other side, and it will make more sense as you, or sorry, armpit, v-neck. It'll make more sense as we go. Once you get to the next panel, it'll be the opposite. So right now, stopping here, this would be 71 instead of 70 because you're starting over here. I may be over explaining this. This might not make any sense. I don't know. I'm just trying to word it every way I can to make more sense to more people. So I'm gonna go around one more row to 71, and then we'll decrease. And you want to stop right when your last one gets high enough that you can get the yarn out from under it without going too high. Should be there. And then I'm just going to take this little hook, pull that off there, pull that out. I'm going to take this tapestry needle and just, you see we're doing it on this side, so that's why this one is labeled AP for armpit, because that's the first one you're doing in our, I don't know if you can see this from there, within our thing. And then you'll just come past it. And then this was 71, so we're gonna go back for 72, and then come back for 73, and that's when we'll decrease again. Making sure to stop before it gets too tall, so you can still take this off. Making sure to go past it. And this was 73, so now we're gonna go back for 74, come back, decrease on 75. But see, if we had started over here with the actual project yarn, like we did with the waste yarn, then this is the side we'd be decreasing on right now for the armpit. So I hope now that we're actually doing it, that makes sense if it didn't before. Making sure to go just past it, and that was 75. So now we're gonna go back around for 76, and then come back and decrease for 77. Going just past that. And again, we're going to go back around for 78, come back around for 79, and decrease again. past it, and now we're gonna go back for 80, come back for 81, and decrease. And then whenever we get over here for 80, I will pop another one of these into the bucket to symbolize row number 80. And I went past where I should have, so let me show you what you do if you do mess that up like I just did. You can go ahead and pop this out from under first. It'll give you more room to work. It's not a big deal if you do this. I just try not to because it does stretch out the loop a little bit. Pull this down around it. Making sure to adjust my weights. Go right past. That was 81, so we're gonna go 82 and then come back 83. And we're gonna be decreasing 83, 85, 87, and 89. So I'll meet you back here on 89 for the next one. Right, this is 89. This is the last decrease I'll be doing on this side for the armpit. That's 89 right there. Now we're on 90, so I'm going to put my 9th one of those in there to mark my 90. And now we're going to be decreasing on this side, but not yet. We're on 90, we need to decrease on 92. So let me get to 92 and we'll decrease. Making sure to stop at the same point so it doesn't go past. And you're just going to do the same thing. But you see how when we were decreasing for the armpit, I was decreasing from over here, and now we're decreasing the V-neck, and I'm doing it from over here. That's why I have it labeled AP for armpit, V-neck, the side, and when you're doing the opposite, like this is the front left panel. So when you're doing the front right panel, this side will be the armpit, this side will be the V-neck. I told you eventually it would make more sense once you see it in action. So that was 92. So I will see you back here for 96 decrease, making sure to remember to go just past it. Again, I'm doing all this based off of my size pattern. I'll have other size patterns available. If not, when this video goes up, then I'll put them on my Instagram, so keep an eye out for that. This is number 96 though, if you're following along with my pattern for my size. This is just to help you get the gist of how it goes. And the reason you saw me pull out my marker a moment ago and mark is because I don't want to accidentally go past where I'm supposed to for that side. And since I'm done with that side, I went ahead and marked it. And when I'm done with this side, I'll mark it as well. But this was number 96, so I'm going to go just past it. And then back around until I get to 100 on this side. On 100, I'm going to go ahead and do my decrease. And also remember, there are 10 in here now, so that means there are 10 rows on here because 100. I would like to raise up my weights. And remember to go just past it. And then I will see you back on this side again at row 104 for our next decrease. And after, like, I would say halfway through your first panel, honestly, you should start getting the hang of this. Like, it's fairly straightforward. I only had to scrap like 1 or 2 panels, like not even halfway, because I went and I messed them up, went too far, didn't go far enough, whatever. And after that, I started remembering to slow down as I get toward the end of my panels. So that was 104. So now go just past. And I'll meet you here for 108, which will be our last decrease. Remember to go just past. And that was 108. So I'll go ahead and mark this. And now you'll just finish the rest of your rows. So I went ahead and marked this. And don't forget to keep track of them with your little markers, which I will keep doing throughout this video to show you. That is 10, so go ahead and put one of these in your bucket. One more set of 10. That was another set of 10, so put one of these in your bucket. Okay, so I know I have 6 more rows to do to make it 836 instead of 130, but I want to count my rows to make sure real quick. Okay, yes, that is 130, so I'm gonna go ahead and do 6 more rows and then we'll be done. So that was the left panel. So for the right panel, you would do everything you just did, but you would switch the sides. So if you decreased for the armpit on one side, you would decrease for the armpit on the other side. If we cast our yarn on a certain side, you would cast it on the other. So basically, if you want, you could screen record or download this video and then just invert it on your phone, and that's what you do for the opposite front panel. And that concludes part 1 of the V-neck series. I hope to see you back in part 2, where we will be doing the back panel. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment section below. If you'd like to ask them in a more private setting, you can contact me on Instagram. I will have a link to that provided in the description box below. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!